Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Stevie.
Hey, today is our sports unit, and we're going to be talking about something that I've never done before, although I've seen it done a lot. It's getting pretty popular, don't you think, Stevie, this stand-up paddle boarding?
I have done this. I have tried it. I'm not very good, but actually, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it is great exercise.
Mm-hmm.
After doing this for a couple hours on the ocean where it's moving a lot, you're trying to stand up on this big board.
Yeah.
Similar to surfing in some ways, but after a couple hours of this, if you are not in good shape, if you don't exercise a lot, you're going to be sore. It's good exercise.
Yeah. Just keeping your balance, doing anything that requires keeping your balance where you're in an environment where it's changing, that's tough.
You're not just moving up and down. You're going back and forth and side to side, and the water's moving in different ways. And yeah, it's a big challenge.
And hopefully there aren't any sharks in the water. Okay, guys, we're going to read through today's article, and then we'll be back.
With summer approaching, many people are planning some fun water activities. Stand-up paddleboarding, SUP, which simply involves standing on a large board and propelling yourself with a paddle, is becoming increasingly popular. The history of SUP dates back thousands of years, with early forms found as early as 3000 BC across various regions like Peru and China. However, the contemporary version of SUP originated in Hawaii in the 1940s, when local surfer John Ah Choi, unable to surf traditionally due to his age, started standing on his board and using a canoe paddle. This style eventually evolved into the SUP we are familiar with today. Over time, SUP has expanded into touring, yoga, and fishing. SUP touring involves long-distance journeys on boards and has become a way for individuals to explore nature's beauty. For those who desire inner peace, SUP yoga brings the tranquility onto paddle boards. Last but not least, SUP fishing introduces a low-cost access to shallow waters with minimal disturbance to fish. Each variation of SUP attracts a wide range of amateurs. When you venture into the world of SUP, understanding equipment is key to a successful start. Most SUP boards come in various sizes. Beginners can benefit from wider boards that offer more stability. The essential SUP paddle, about 8 to 15 inches taller than the user, has a handle and angled blade for efficient movement. To stay connected to your board, use a leash attached to your ankle that prevents the board from drifting away if you fall off. With the right equipment, you'll be prepared to start your SUP adventure.
Okay, folks, let's dive in. We're going to stand, paddle, explore, the rise of SUP. So standing, we all know what that is. To paddle, paddle can be a noun and a verb.
Yeah.
So a paddle is a long oar. Usually it's, it used to be made of wood only. Now we have, plastics.
Light metals and plastics. And a paddle is something that is usually, it's thin and you use it to push yourself through
like a pole.
Water or, something like that. So stand, paddle, explore. Check everything out while you're standing and paddling.
And we're talking about the rise of this sport, which means its popularity is growing. So we're going to talk about that. Like I said, I haven't tried this, but you sure see it a lot these days.
Yeah.
With summer approaching, we're right there in summer now. It's June. It's hot. The first thing I always think of on these hot days is, where's the water? Where's the swimming pool?
Too.
Yeah, but if you're near the beach, it's even better. So many people are planning some fun water activities, This is one of them, stand-up paddleboarding, or short, people can just say SUP. It simply involves standing on a large board and propelling yourself with a paddle, and it's becoming increasingly popular.
So actually, when I first heard SUP, because I think stand-up, stand-up paddleboarding, I was thinking it should be like SUPB or SPB.
Yeah.
But it's stand-up, so the SUP, stand-up.
Paddle.
Paddleboarding, yeah.
Stand up and paddle, maybe.
Right, so stand up and paddle, stand up, or SUP. And that, of course, involves, or in this case, we could say it includes, or it entails.
It's a part of.
Standing on a large board. And in this case, this is a large surfboard. You're not standing like on a big door.
So is it not wider than a surfboard?
It is wider than a surfboard. It's also thicker than a surfboard and longer as well. It basically, it's a giant surfboard.
Do you rent them?
You can buy them, you can rent them, and some of them now, with new plastics and that, you can even have a blow-up paddleboard.
Oh.
You fill it with air, and it's actually strong enough to stand on.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. So you stand on this huge, giant board. It's basically a boat.
Okay.
Right? It's a surf boat.
Kind of.
Yeah. And you propel yourself, or to propel means to push something forward.
Drive it forward.
Yeah. So you're pushing yourself, you're propelling yourself with a paddle. And it's becoming more and more popular. And I just tried it last year.
Oh, wow.
Last year, for the very first time, I went home to visit my family, and my mother was trying stand-up paddleboarding.
Good for her.
And so I said, well, if my mother can do this, I can do it.
Yeah.
But my mother did it on a lake, which the waves were not quite as big.
No.
So I came back to Taiwan, and I tried it on the ocean.
Woo!
Did not stand up for long.
No.
But it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the history of SUP. It dates back thousands of years, goes way back, with early forms of this particular exercise found as early as 3000 BC.
Wow.
Yeah, it was across various regions like Peru and China.
I had no idea.
No, I didn't either.
They had, big surfboards back then. Actually, I looked into this. They were a little bit different. But, especially in Peru, they had the large boats made of reeds or plants.
Oh, okay.
And that.
Sure.
And in China also, you have the large rafts made of bamboo. And you would stand on them and push your way through with a pole, which is just like stand-up paddleboarding.
It is.
So that's why they say this dates back to 3,000 years. They didn't do it for fun, maybe.
I was going to say they weren't playing, they were working.
They were using it for work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same idea.
So where is Peru, in case you don't know? It's a Spanish-speaking country. Tom would have loved this. He would have spoken some Spanish for us. It's a country in South America. It's on the Pacific coast. And, of course, they do speak Spanish and Quechua, which is kind of a native language for them there.
It has to do with the Incas.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Little trivia on Peru. They grow more kinds of potatoes than anywhere else in the world.
Cool.
They have over 100 kinds of potatoes. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
That has nothing to do with paddleboarding.
But very interesting about Peru. It says, however, the contemporary version of SUP originated in Hawaii. So if you want to see what it looked like at the very beginning, at least in terms of the contemporary version, you have to look back to the 1940s in Hawaii.
And when we talk about contemporary version, contemporary in this case meaning modern.
Right.
So the modern version, and a version of something is the kind of something that it is, the form. So the modern form started back in Hawaii in the 1940s.
I love this guy's name. He was a local surfer. He came up with this. His name was John Ah Choi. It sounds like a label of Asian food that we had in America.
Oh, there is a le choy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's fun. So he was the one who came up with the modern version. Why? Well, he was unable to surf traditionally due to his age. I wonder how old he was when he started doing this. So it's hard to learn how to surf if you're, say, even at 60, it's kind of hard to start surfing at that age.
But also, as you get older, maybe he had problems with his knees.
Could, yeah.
He loved surfing, but he couldn't stand on a board and handle the waves and that anymore. But he loved being on a board out in the ocean.
And there you go.
Yeah.
A lot of inventions come because they're necessities for these people who come up with these new inventions. So he wasn't able to do what he'd done all his whole life because he was getting older. So he started standing on his board and using a canoe paddle. So that's how he came up with the paddle.
He could still be on his surfboard standing. Maybe he didn't have the balance for giant waves, but he could be out there on the water, on his board with the canoe paddle, still feeling like he was doing something he loved.
King of the jungle.
Yeah.
Now, guys, a canoe is kind of those... It's a small, usually it's a one-man or one-person boat. It's shaped kind of like a banana to me. And you get around or you propel yourself with a paddle.
Yeah, a canoe can be up to 2 or 3 people, but
it could be bigger.
Canoes are usually a bit smaller. They're long and they're skinny. They're not super wide. So, yeah, they don't hold a lot of people. They tip over easily.
Very easily.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in a canoe. But a canoe paddle, that's again, what you use to push the boat.
So this style eventually evolved into what we call SUP today. It's the one we're familiar with. So eventually means after some time passed.
Yeah, it slowly happened.
Yeah. When I first came to Taiwan, I didn't even like soy sauce. I didn't like garlic.
Oh.
I had a really tough time at first. But someone that was my roommate at the time, she got me to eat a lot of shui jiao at the beginning. And I thought, oh, I like these.
So your tastes eventually evolved.
They evolved.
They changed. And usually when we say evolve, it's usually change into something that is better or something that is more suited to the environment.
And I was much more suited to the environment. Now I could drink soy sauce. I like it so much.
The same thing happened to me with doujang or soy milk, as they call it. I thought it was disgusting when I first came here because I was expecting it to taste something like milk,
but
and it didn't.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like it. And one of my friends, every day, he would get me a glass of doujang or soy milk with my breakfast. And after a while, I was like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And I started to drink it, and I started to enjoy it.
Yes.
And then I started buying my own.
See?
Yep.
Yeah, you can grow to love things and fit into the situation better.
Yeah. So our tastes evolved, just like this style evolved into, well, the stand-up paddle boards that we see today.
Yeah, it didn't happen at first. It took a little while, but things kept changing slowly over time. Right now, guys, we're going to take a quick break, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to continue talking about the rise of SUP.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是6月20号 Unit 11 Stand Paddle Explore The Rise of SUP。这是运动单元，介绍的是立式划桨 SUP。夏天就要到了，那相信很多听众已经迫不及待要从事水上活动，一方面消暑，一方面刺激好玩。不知道大家有没有立式划桨？有没有从事过这项运动呢？那没有的话，我觉得这篇文章会是很好的起点，大家可以好好的进一步的去了解，会知道说玩这项水上活动需要哪些装备。我们一起来看学习重点吧。请看第一段第一个句子 With summer approaching， 就暑假快到了 With summer approaching。那有很多人就开始计划水上活动，所以看到第二个 Stand Up Paddle Boarding， 简称 SUP。好，这里呢，他就讲到说，这个立式划桨怎么样呢？好 ，which simply involves standing on a large board。那这个 involve， 请同学可以画起来，它基本上就是告诉我们说需要做些什么事情，或者这个活动呢含什么样子的内容，包含什么样的内容。最主要呢，所谓立式划桨，它就是要站在一块比较大的板子上 ，and propelling yourself with the paddle。那接下来呢，要拿着这个桨，让自己呢推动自己往前进。好，那这个立式划桨啊，变得越来越受欢迎了。好，那我们接着往下看，看到第二段的第一个句子，是整个告诉我们说，这个立式划桨怎么来的？原来啊，其实这项运动相当古老哦，不是最近才发明的。The history of SUP dates back thousands of years。真的要去回溯的话，可以回溯到几千年前。请同学特别注意的是 dates back， 时态我们用现在式就好了。这个历史可以回溯到几千年前。那最早期的形式是在什么时候啊？就是在公元前3000年，原来就有这样的形式了。那在很多地方都看得到，包括秘鲁啊、中国等等。再来，我们看到第二个句子，就提到虽然这个运动历史很古老，不过要说到现代的这种立式划桨的形式的话，真正的起源地是哪里呢？很多人会讲是在夏威夷 Hawaii。It originated in Hawaii。那是什么时候才开始？原来是1940年代。那当地呢就有冲浪者，因为呢他的年龄还没有办法去冲浪，就是从事这种传统这种冲浪的方式。那所以他就开始呢站在板子上，那用这个原本是独木舟的桨来推动。好 ，This style eventually evolved into， 请同学把 evolve into 画起来。这里讲的就是演变，它的这一种运动的方式，划桨的方式，渐渐的演变成我们现在所熟知的 SUP 立式划桨。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's our sport unit, and we're talking about SUP, stand-up paddleboarding, which is kind of fun, and also kind of the history behind it, how it got started. It actually existed in a different form long, long ago in Peru and China. But as Stevie mentioned earlier, they weren't doing it for fun.
It was work.
People back then didn't have a lot of leisure time.
Yeah.
We have so much more leisure time today because of the technology that we now have in our lives. So we should be grateful for that. We have time to participate in fun sports.
And the next sentence really talks about how much time we have because, I mean, in 3000 BC, they had these stand-up paddle boats or boards that they were using for things like fishing and, just trying to get across a river. And now we're using them for, just to have fun and relax. But to go into touring and yoga
on the board
and fishing.
So weird.
Now, fishing is kind of taken you back to one of the original uses. But touring, so we say it's expanded now.
Yeah. So we're using SUP for different things. So maybe that's how you want to get around and see a place is to get onto a paddleboard. I don't know, you get pretty sunburned that way.
You have to have really good balance.
Yes.
Because this works when you're standing on a paddleboard that is moving. This works all of what we call your core muscles. All of your body muscles that control your balance and keep you upright and keep you from moving around and falling off your bike. And it uses every muscle, maybe in your body.
Yeah, and you discover muscles you didn't know existed after you get finished with this the first time. So try to get into good shape. Don't go out on a paddleboard if you are in really bad shape.
And you might want sunscreen.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep putting it on. Oh, I can just imagine how sunburned people get.
So touring on a long distance journey on a board might be like going across a lake or something, or going through a place where the water is not running quickly or have big waves.
Or rocks.
Or rocks, yeah. Because you're standing on a board in the water. But it has become a way for individuals or people to explore and enjoy nature's beauty.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing yoga on it, but yoga is very popular these days, so why not be out in nature on the water?
I can imagine this. It says for those who desire inner peace.
Right.
Imagine, again, not on the ocean that's moving quickly, but maybe on a pond.
Oh, yeah.
That not moving a lot, just sitting on a board and feeling the water just move slightly around you while you're listening to maybe birds singing and just hearing the water just
Sounds
kind of
peaceful.
Yeah. So I can understand maybe meditating, that part of yoga.
Yeah, but would they be doing the posing?
They might be doing the stretches and the breathing techniques. And
Good
again, and the water's probably not very deep for those.
Yeah.
But sitting on a board, maybe meditating in nature
See,
on a board.
I see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I can.
Doing the poses, I think would be dangerous.
Time to stretch. Bloop. Oh,
Ooh.
Stephanie is wet. Does somebody have a towel?
So you can go touring. It involves long distance journeys on boards.
Mm-hmm.
Again, make sure you pick the right water to do that on.
Yeah.
And it's also become a way for individuals to explore nature's beauty. I just think reconnecting with nature in general is good for your health. So I think anything you can do to be outside more is great. For those who desire inner peace, SUP or SUP yoga brings the tranquility onto paddleboards. Tranquility is just another word for peace.
Yeah. It's feeling your mind and your spirit, it's just calm and peaceful.
Yeah, you let go of all that stress from work, people. Now, last but not least, SUP fishing introduces a low-cost access to shallow waters with minimal disturbance to fish. We don't want to disturb our fish with those motorboats and those engines and the gas sometimes gets into the water, which hurts the fish. Yeah. I grew up with a ski boat, so I must confess we were guilty of that. So you're not really disturbing the fish, and you're going to be in shallow waters.
Yeah.
So that'll be better
low
too.
Low cost. It's cheaper than a boat.
Oh, so low cost.
Yeah.
Each variation of SUP attracts a wide range of amateurs. An amateur is someone who does something for fun. They don't do it for money. They're not professional.
Yeah, you're not a professional. You're an amateur.
Yeah, and we talk about amateur. I'm an amateur golfer. I'm an amateur singer. I'm an amateur fisherman. So some people do these things for their career, for a living.
You might be good at it and be an amateur golfer.
Doesn't mean you're bad.
But it means you don't get paid for it.
That's not your job.
But then if you're doing it and somebody looks at you and says, oh, amateur, then that's like...
That means you're bad at it.
You're not very good. But that's kind of usually we're kidding or something.
Yeah, that's an insult and it's fun. And you can say that to your friends. Be careful who you say it to. So moving on to the final paragraph, it says, when you venture into the world of SUP, understanding equipment is key to a successful start. What things you need include the equipment for something. Remember, guys, always remember, do not put an S on this word. It is a non-count noun.
Right.
So I have a lot of equipment. I have many pieces of equipment.
Equipment is what you need to do a job, to start an activity. It's the things that you need. It could be tools.
Could be.
And in this case, we're going to talk about the boards and things that you need.
So most SUP boards come in various sizes. Of course.
Yeah, different sizes.
They make them for little people, for kids, for teenagers, for adults, for big adults.
Yeah, I need a big board.
And skinny adults.
I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
I'm not a skinny boy.
So beginners can benefit from wider boards, and this makes total sense. It offers more stability.
Yeah.
You won't fall over so quickly.
It's more stable.
Yeah, I would definitely need that. Now, the essential SUP paddle is about 8 to 15 inches taller than the user.
Yeah.
So you want to measure that carefully. Don't get something that's too short or too tall for you.
You don't want to have to bend over at all.
Oh, that'll kill your back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
And
careful.
it's bad for your balance.
Oh, that's true. Your paddle will have a good handle, an angled blade, and that's for efficient movement. The blade is usually, we use this word to talk about what's on a knife. The blade is that sharp part.
I'll tell you why we call those things blades.
Yeah.
A blade of grass is thin and
Flat.
long and flat.
Yes.
And so anything that resembles a blade of grass, whether it be a knife blade or some like a paddle blade, we call all of those blades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a sword has a blade on
Yeah.
it. We will refer to those as blades. To stay connected to your board, you're going to use a leash or a rope, some sort of
We usually call that a safety line.
a safety line.
But we do say it is leashed or attached to your ankle.
And if it's attached, what does it mean? It just means it's joined or fastened to
Connected.
something. It's connected to something.
Yeah.
So you'll want to make sure you have that because once you get knocked off or your balance is, off balance and you fall down.
And we call that safety line a leash, but usually we'll call it a safety line because leash is what you usually use with an animal.
Yeah.
Like if you take your dog for a walk, the line that your dog is on, that's called a leash.
Yeah.
So we usually don't use it for people.
Yeah, I kind of laughed when I saw it. So with the right equipment, you'll be prepared to start your SUP adventure. We hope that this is giving you a nice intro into what SUP is. We're going to listen to our Chinese teacher one more time, and then we'll be back to say goodbye.
再来，请同学呢看到第三段。第三段其实是在介绍，所谓立式划桨是有很多不同变化形式的。那包括什么样的变化形式呢？我们可以看得到第二个句子，第二个句子开始，那一直到这个第五个句子应该说2、3、4，2、3、4呢分别在介绍不同形式的立式划桨，也就是它们的变化。好，那在第一个句子就已经提示我们，这一段就是要介绍立式划桨不同的形式，它变化成了跟旅游有关，那也可能是瑜伽，那也甚至于呢，有人是用立式划桨来做钓鱼。那第二个句子这里我们看到先介绍的就是跟旅游有关的 long distance journeys， 好，它是用来做长途的旅行。那第三个句子呢，则是讲可以用这个立式划桨来做瑜伽。那有什么效果呢？ SUP Yoga brings the tranquility onto paddleboards。 你在这个板子上可以让做瑜伽的人感受到宁静。那再来呢，第四个所讲的呢，则是跟钓鱼有关，利用 SUP 来做钓鱼。那其实并不花钱 ，a low cost access。那这样子相较于呢，你去浅水区，那这样子的方式呢是比较省钱的，而且不太会去影响到水中的这些鱼类。好，再来我们看到第四段的第一个句子 When you venture into the world of SUP， 因为介绍了这么多关于立式划桨，当然文章的作者会鼓励读者进一步的去探索。如果呢，你一旦开始去探索了，进入这个立式划桨的世界 venture into， 你开始进入这个世界去探索，那你要了解到，其实如果这项活动运动要做得好，那设备是非常重要的 Equipment is key to a successful start。 那找到正确的设备，你之后才会玩得开心。那所以第四段就简单的介绍了一下需要哪一些设备 当然板子是不可或缺的。那而且这边也特别在第3句特别告诉我们，初学者应该要选比较宽的板子。那第4句呢，则是介绍这个桨是怎么样子的桨。那再来第5个句子跟安全性是蛮相关的，请同学看到 To stay connected to your board。 那为了呢，让我们的运动者可以和板子好好的有一定的连结， Use a leash attached to your ankle。 必须要有一个绳索系住这个脚踝，请特别把 attached 的 ed 圈起来，这里我们用被动语态，它是要绑在脚踝上的。为什么？要避免跌倒的时候呢，板子就这样子飘走了。好，以上就是我们针对 SUP 这个很有趣的水上活动立式划桨所做的中文讲解。谢谢大家。
That's all the time we have for today, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we hope we've got some adventurers out there that are willing to give this a shot.
You should try it. It's fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Stevie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.